Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to E.L.S Systems. Outer tie the Viper rig a little bit broken down. Got a lot of issues. Well, had a few issues of people not really understanding how it's going. Maybe my video weren't too clear, so we're going to get into that. One of the first issues, and I've tried uploading another one, right, but the HD on YouTube ain't accepting it, whether. So I'm going to do this in 3 parts, yeah. So the first part, issues of other people, are what's stopping the bait from coming off the hook or coming off the main line, what's stopping the hook coming off the main line when you catch the fish. And it's quite simple, but I'll show you as all again. It's a knot, yeah. So the general principle is the knot needs to be bigger than the eye of the hook. So you've got the eye of the hook, so if you can envision, that's got a bait on it, the fish nicks the hook, it starts swimming off, it goes through there, it hits that, it comes through to there, hits the eye, and then pulls off. Now you've got your sort of like your aggressive knot sort of thing, your strength. That's your stronghold there, that knot hitting the eye. Quite simple, but that knot hitting the eye, the hook can't come off the line because the knot's there. Now, whatever knot you choose to do or how you choose to do it, that's up to you, right? This is sort of like what I've been studying for like time sort of thing, but now it's come out. Now the rig's been out like a week and a half. I'm getting some nice feedback off people, like some good anglers, you know. I appreciate, right? I really appreciate that this ain't gonna sort of like this ain't gonna float everyone's boat. Yeah, I sort of get that. The world we live in now with modern day rigs and ready tied rigs all ready to go, and it's all shop brought, and it's all, everything's sort of ready to go. Bait's ready to go now. Rigs are, the lead core's all set up. You've got to tie one knot and bang it in the middle of the lake. I get people ain't going to get this rig, right? When you walk around the lake, yeah, and you see 5 nails, right, in a bunch in a tree, right? The people that put their nails there are going to get this, right? Most of you don't even sort of like see the nails, you know, but whoever put them there are going to get this, right? So the knot can be anything you choose, right? Now I'm going fishing this afternoon, right, and I am more than confident in using that knot I just had. It was just like, it was off the cuff, it was just a looped knot, that one there, right? They're 12 pounders in this lake. Right, now if you're going for 40 pounders, yeah, you do need something on the end of the line. Well, I'd suggest you put something on the end of the line. Now, I've had loads of people saying, what about this, what about that? And yeah, what about it all, right? So I've got a little ring here, yeah. This also coincides with how to put the bait back on once you've sort of like nicked a fish and the bait's come off. How do you get this back on, right? So again, there's a ring there. I've got a micro ring, I've got a micro swivel, I've got an oval bead, see that? And I've got the bait spike here. Right, now the thing that I dig about the bait spike, right, it is of a bar of metal, yeah? It's like a rod of metal, and it's just been twisted over to make the eye, yeah? It's like been curved round, just like the end of a hook, right? No different, all right? It's the same material as the hook. It's like a tube, a rod, yeah, that's been bent over, right? Now this is why I like them, and also the diameter, not so much that way is like 2.5 mil, right? It's really thin. It's almost as thin as a knot, yeah, but you've got a nice stronghold, yeah. Whereas, for example, the metal on this swivel is so thin, it's like almost like wire metal. Look, see the sort of difference in that. And also these things, these oval rings or whatever they oval sort of like, and then you've got the round rings. Now these things are all pressed out of sheet metal, right? I don't know if that'll focus in on that. I hope it does. There, right? Now that's out of pressed metal, yeah? Now if I rotate that, it's almost got a square edge internally. See that there? Look, it's pretty square. It's not the tube. It's been pressed out of a sheet metal, right? Now, regarding the fact that it could have an internal sharp edge, not razor sharp, but a square edge internally or externally, same as these rings as well. These rings, if you take a closer look, you'll see it's a square edge, right? Now, when the fish is pulling on that knot, don't worry about the knot, yeah, because it's the same sort of principle. If you tied a hook on and pulled it this way, it's no different than the weight coming from behind it and pushing it that way, right? So don't worry about the knot, yeah. But I was just very concerned that if that could lacerate on that square edge, yeah, if the knot pressure came down to sort of like a 40 pounder in the weed or something, whatever you feel is going to come up, you know, up, then I reckon that's going to lacerate, right? Which is why I found these bait spikes, they're tiny little things. And also regarding their diameter, right, these little swivels, yeah, I was trying to thread them onto sort of like a 12mm pop-up, and the pop-up just kept splitting every time. Same as these things, they're quite wide, do you know what I mean? They're not sort of like, they're all right that way, but as soon as you turn it that way, you split your baits. Air dried baits often split. So I like the bait spike, right? It's a rod, it's strong, it's tiny, right? You don't have to use it, use whatever you want, right? But I'm just saying the bait spike is pretty sick, yeah? Right, so you got your spike, you tied your spike on, all the rest of it. Regarding the spike, right, so I've had a lot of feedback saying looks a bit savage. Right, yeah, I sort of get that. Yeah, I was just in a massive rush, and the ring is what I chose, right? The sort of like the style of the ring, the style of the metal, yeah. So in hindsight, right, and I'm gonna sort of stress this really. You've probably already worked it out anyway, right? But just nick off the spike, yeah. Don't need it, right? I was sort of a bit, you know, I wanted to try and make it easy as possible for people to put their bait back on. It really stressed me out. I don't have that issue. I never put a bait back on. I tie a new rig. Every time I get a fish, I tie a new rig. Simple. But for the welfare of the fish, right, I get that. If there was fake, like a plastic bait on there, I don't think it would come off. So therefore, I don't think it would come into play. I have had pop-ups that have remained on it as well whilst playing the fish, but in hindsight, right, you don't need the spike because I've come up with a right nice touch. So we're going to get rid of that. That is what you need, right? Perfect. Little Jedi system right there. So you got the ring of the spike, yeah, admittedly you don't need the spike. On the nice knot, right, so now you can thread your bait. Again, if I was going fishing, that would be the first thing I would have done. The second thing I'm going to do is put my bait on, right? Now again, right, I'm sort of like a bit sort of like biased here because I don't cast out no more. I only fish a couple of feet out. So I haven't taken into consideration the lads that do, and that was a bit rude of me, right? So anyway, right, so I pull that through, it hits that, and it's just a simple case of pulling it through until you can either blob that if you want, but the sort of like the ring inside that bait. Now I'm only going to cast this out a couple of feet. I'm going to lower it down into the margins, and it's just going to sit there like that. I haven't got to bang it out, but I have come up with another idea. So if you move on to the next video, if you do want to whack it out 100 yards, single look bait on the Viper, we've sort of nailed it. If you want to change your bait mid-session, we've sort of nailed that as well. All right, so that is what you're after, right? That's sort of phase one there, if you will. Yeah, happy days, man.